Just a little bit to the Memphis Grizzlies, who simply haven't been able to catch a break lately, taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder last night. The Thunder, best of the West, coming to town, looking to extend their 4-game win streak. They led by as many as 21 points at one point, with MVP candidate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropping 41. I'll tell you what, his game is gorgeous. The Grizz managed to out-rebound the Thunder despite Jaren Jackson Jr. being out with a left ankle sprain, showing a glimpse of hope that the grit and grind is still there, but ultimately they fell to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Here is Taylor Jenkins after the game.
Everyone's thinking about, the sky's falling. We lost 4 games in a row, and we're facing adversity right now. But they don't know what goes on behind closed doors with this group and how we actually came out with a different edge against the best team in the NBA. We just got to keep making progress. The belief in this group, what we can do if we continue to put in the work. And as I said, we just got to continue to make this progress like we did from yesterday, today, and hopefully apply that to tomorrow and into Friday's game, and see if we can, get a win.
So this has kind of been a disappointing stretch for Memphis, where they had the 1-2 road game coming out, road stretch coming out of the All-Star break, and you're thinking, okay, they're coming back home. They've got a 5-game homestand, and when they get in this 5-game homestand, they're one of the best teams in the NBA at home this season, and you're hoping that they're able to get back on the right side of the ship. And that has been the last thing that has happened. You have 3 straight games where you lose basically at the buzzer, which I think somebody said that hasn't even been done in the NBA before, which has got to be demoralizing. Santi Aldama had come out after the Hawks game and just kind of said, we're cheating the game right now. We're not doing the things that are necessary, that are required in order to really be one of the elite teams in the NBA. And I think as we look at this team, we're like, okay, they were second in the West before the homestand started. And you look at this team, they're supposed to be a contender. The way they've played these last couple of games has not been contender-esque. You're not up there with that upper echelon. Even the Knicks, who we think have kind of struggled over the last couple of games, have been they put it on the Grizzlies. And that game was certainly close. You lose at the buzzer, it is what it is. But you got to win against these best teams in the NBA, and the Grizzlies still haven't done that. And you're looking at this OKC game, and you're like, okay, they've got to at least show something. And I think for a while it seemed like the Grizzlies did. OKC always kind of felt like they were in control, and the Grizzlies felt like they were trying to keep up despite having won the rebounding battle in this game. But ultimately, it just kind of seems like they're the OKC Thunder are a step above right now. They're in that upper echelon. They've deserved everything that they've got in terms of praise, in terms of the wins that they've had. They are a really, really good ball club, and they're able to do it inside and out. They didn't have Chet Holmgren last night, and they just didn't really seem to have any issues. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 41 points. I mean, watching his game is silky smooth. Silky smooth. He's getting to wherever he wants to get to on the floor. He's drawing fouls. It doesn't look like anything is too complicated or tough for him. And the Grizzlies were sending a lot at him. Jalen Wells, Vince Williams Jr., he ended up with on Ja Morant a lot last night. So Scottie Pippen Jr. throwing a lot at him and just didn't really seem phased. And what they did defensively, what the OKC has right now in just terms of long, tall defenders who can play on the wing, can defend really, really well, your best guys. And I'm talking about guarding. They sent 2 at Desmond Bane most of the night. They kind of handled what Ja Morant was able to do a lot of the night. And then on the offensive end, they can score well. They hit 3 balls. They're connected defensively. And we talked to the players and we talked to Taylor Jenkins last night. Several of them said, hey, are the OKC Thunder the best or most connected team you've seen defensively? And a lot of them are saying, yeah, I think so. Or some of them are said, definitely or without question. So that tier that OKC is at, the Grizzlies are just not on right now. And they've got to go and figure it out here as they go back on the road. And another thing you got to look at, I think, is what Ja Morant is kind of having to deal with. Jaren Jackson Jr. right now dealing with an ankle sprain. Didn't look too bad. He was in street clothes last night, but wasn't in a boot. Looked very comfortable. Had him, ball handling and stuff like that. But when we talked to Ja Morant about if he was okay, and if he is kind of battling through some of that stuff with his shoulder that he's had to deal with throughout the season, he basically said if Jaren was in that game, well, he didn't say if Jaren was in that game, but he basically said, I shouldn't have played last night. You can take a listen.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have played, but I did. That You can put your own answer. Regardless of what I say, it's going to get summarized anyway on a little part.
So Ja certainly frustrated with the way things have been going this year. And he's been through a lot on that shoulder, had surgery on it, then kind of had another little ping he was dealing with. And so he's kind of playing through a lot of stuff right now. And we're kind of getting into that season where everybody's dealing with something, right? Nobody is all the way healthy, but he's your star. He's got to be your superstar right now because we don't know how soon we'll get Jaren Jackson Jr. back, but it's certainly looking kind of scary for the Grizz, especially you go through a 4-game losing streak at home. Is really demoralizing for a group and a character. And I think what Ja is going to have to do right now is really put the team on his back and kind of take the mantle in the way that he maybe did back in a 2021, a 2022, kind of before we saw this emergence from Jaren Jackson Jr. You're certainly hoping you get some help from a Desmond Bane last night, but the way OKC boxed him up, you really needed Ja to do more. He had 24 points last night, 6 assists in 31 minutes, 1 steal, still had 5 turnovers. Turnovers were a bit of a problem for the Grizzlies last night, as it has been kind of reared its ugly head. 15 last night, and I would say OKC, took advantage of that. It's going to be interesting to see how the Grizzlies handle Ja Morant going here down the stretch. Only about, I want to say 17, 18 games left here before we get into the playoffs, and you're hoping you can see the Grizzlies kind of make a push here and get back into the conversation for a 2 or 3 seed because you don't want to end up on the same side of the bracket as an OKC Thunder, and that's certainly kind of where they've put themselves. I think they're back at 4th in the Western Conference. Look at the schedule really quick. They go on the road. They see the Mavericks, who are struggling. You should get a win there. You see the Pelicans, who are just not good this year, even though they do have Zion Williamson back. Should get a win back there. And then you get the Phoenix Suns back at home here on Sunday, March 10th. So some opportunities to kind of right the ship again, but the reality is we're not going to be impressed with what the Grizzlies do. If they go 3-0 in this stretch, we're going to say these are teams they should beat. And you're still wondering about, can they beat the elite in the NBA? Because right now, the Lakers are looking real scary with LeBron James and Luka Doncic. The Denver Nuggets have kind of figured something out. Once again, we know how good Nikola Jokic is in this league, and then you're looking at a 4-5 matchup with a Houston Rockets team that's beat you 3 times this year. So we'll see what the Grizzlies are able to do here. Coming up, next game is, again, tomorrow, 6:30. That's on the road in Dallas.